The room was buzzing with tension before departure. While Professor Leon, Alan, and others nearly clashed in the center, Alfred tried to maintain peace, weary of someone who had assumed this role many times before. Near the door, Hestia displayed an almost palpable nervousness, surrounding Harrowheim with excessive care, confirming supplies, weapons, and even food, unable to hide her fear of letting him go. Asfi, visibly overwhelmed, silently accepted the responsibility of protecting him. Around them, veteran adventurers from the Loki Familia were already ready, connected by rapid communications, while the absence of Lily, Welf, Makoto, and other familiars made it clear that this would not be an ordinary expedition. Bell quickly realized the weight of the situation when he discovered that everyone there carried the same directive, that of the sword. They were the main force, a small elite group destined to advance to the 60th floor of the dungeon. Even in small numbers, the formation was daunting. Adventurers of level 4 or higher, led by Professor Leon, a level 7. That composition resembled a dream team, gathering as much power as possible in the absence of legendary figures like A's. Still, the depth of the objective made everything almost insane, since reaching that floor normally required a massive expedition. Without detailed explanations, the order to depart was given abruptly. Bell, confused and unprepared, received only one direct instruction: run. The informality, almost recklessness, of the command was sealed with a kick from the master, who made it clear that there was no time to lose. Before the descent, Hestia gave Bell an adapted oculus, promising to accompany him from a distance with constant divine advice. That promise to fight together, even separated by the dungeon, strengthened Bell's heart. With renewed courage and the group united by the same purpose, the rescue operation began in an extreme way, not with careful steps, but with direct jump into the depths. The descent followed no common protocol. Ignoring stares and caution, the group launched themselves directly into the great hole of the dungeon, plummeting to the initial floors before Bell could even process what was happening. As soon as they touched the ground, the order was clear and relentless: advance without fighting to the 50th floor. The imposed pace was observed from the first instant, led by Alan, whose speed seemed inhuman. Bell could barely keep up, feeling his body protest as he tried not to lose sight of Professor Leon's firm back, which served as the only point of reference amidst the frantic race. The main force advanced like a blade cutting through the dungeon. Asfi, wearing the winged boots, carried Harrowheim so that he wouldn't fall behind, while the master coordinated everything as if every detail had already been foreseen. There was no room for hesitation. Any reduction in pace would mean abandoning the lower-level members. Still, that brutal advance did not break the group. On the contrary, it revealed how absurdly well-trained those adventurers were, especially those of the Loki Familia, whose experience in deep expeditions surpassed any known standard. Bell, even exhausted, could only cling to the idea of moving forward. It was then that something started to sound wrong. Despite the deafening noise of footsteps and the uncontrolled speed, no monster appeared to block the way. The absence of attacks, so unusual in the dungeon, generated a growing discomfort in Bell. He could feel the presences around him, hear distant echoes of screams and clashing steel, but the path ahead remained clear. The answer came abruptly when wounded and blood-covered adventurers appeared, recognizing the main force and retreating in panic, clearing a path as if announcing the arrival of something inevitable. As he turned the corner, Bell finally understood. Endless rows of adventurers stretched before him, waging desperate battles against hordes of monsters. It was a colossal containment line, held up to keep the path clear. The shock almost made him stop, but a firm push from Lafia brought him back to reality. That sight made it clear. The insane advance of the main force was only possible because countless others were fighting and bleeding to sustain that route. Without time to reflect, Bell resumed running, absorbing the weight of that responsibility as he moved forward. Advancing beyond the containment line, the main force continued without looking back, leaving behind the echo of the battles that sustained its passage. Bell ran with a heavy heart, now aware that each step taken was only possible thanks to the sacrifice of countless adventurers who remained facing the monsters. The dungeon, however, showed no mercy. The air grew thicker, the pressure more oppressive, and an unsettling silence crept between sections, as if the labyrinth itself were watching the group that dared to tear through its domains at top speed. Guided by the master's precise orders and Professor Leon's tireless pace, the group maintained formation, following only the main routes and ignoring any detours. Fatigue accumulated rapidly, even among high-level adventurers, but no one dared to slow down. Heroheim, protected by Asphai, focused on fulfilling her role at the right moment, while Lafia and the other members of the Loki Familia maintained tension in their eyes, prepared to act if the advance was interrupted. Bell felt his body at its limit, but the constant support he received from Oculos, with Hestia's voice echoing his mind, prevented fear from turning into hesitation. The scale of that operation was becoming increasingly clear. It wasn't just a race against the depths of the dungeon, but an all-out gamble, an elite force advancing while everyone else held back the chaos. Bell understood that this was no ordinary expedition, but a rescue mission that put ideals, lives, and the very reputation of families at stake. With clenched fists and a firm gaze on Leon's back, he pressed forward, determined not to waste anyone's effort. The greatest adventure of his life was already underway, and there was no turning back.